Okay, welcome to my class of Civic Education. So today we are looking at a question from past paper 2020 GCE. Okay, and this question is under corruption. So this question was question number 2, as you can see there. And the question goes like this: what is grand corruption? What is grand corruption? Assess the impact of corruption on the economy. So the first question there is, what is grand corruption? So you have to answer it. Then assess the impact of corruption on the economy. You have to assess the impact or the results or the effects. Sometimes they would use those words that I've mentioned: effect, results. Then discuss the role of the public in the fight against corruption. That one. So we have 3 questions in one paragraph. Okay. So now, solutions. How can we answer this particular question in an exam? So to start with the first question, which is what is grand corruption? So grand corruption, this is type of corruption, involves substantial amounts of money. It is usually practiced by high-ranking people, or this is a type of corruption which is at the institutional level. Okay, that is grand corruption. You have answered the first question. Then you go to assess the impact of corruption on the economy. What is the impact of corruption on the economy? So the first one of them, poor service delivery. So corruption causes poor service delivery in a sovereign country like Zambia. So corruption direct resources that are meant for everyone, okay, into the pockets of individuals. Okay, so the resources that are meant for everyone is being directed into the pockets of some individuals. And which are those individuals are we talking about? We are talking about now the government officials, those people that are on higher ranks. Okay, people like ministers, people like permanent secretaries, vice president, president himself. They are now directing those resources that are meant for every one of us. Now they are going into their pockets. So that leads to poor delivery as a nation. Okay, then we go to point 2. The other impact, increasing the cost of doing business. So in a country where there is corruption, the issue of doing business becomes very difficult because the cost always increased. Okay, so corruption increases cost of doing business because of extra corrupt payment that have to be paid in addition to what is required by the law to obtain various services such as trading licenses and permits. So for example, me as an individual, maybe I want to get permits or any license maybe for business. Now for me to acquire that license, I need to pay huge amount of money for me to be favored to some individuals there who are responsible to issue the same license. And therefore, and that, so to say, causes the cost of doing business increased. Okay, and that eventually disadvantages the country. Okay, then the other impact is loss of investor confidence. So in a country where there are a lot of corruption, where there is a lot of corruption, you would find that the investors want to come that particular country and invest so that they can add value to the economy of that country. They will now lose confidence because of corruption which is in there. Okay, so that is now corruption scares away genuine investors. Okay? Genuine investors might be scared to start or continue doing business in a corrupt environment because business cannot thrive in a corrupt environment, and hence that will scare away the genuine investors in a country. Okay? Then the other impact, corruption, lack of development, lacks development. Where there is corruption, there will be no development at all. Okay, so corruption causes underdevelopment because money that is meant to improve people's lives is stolen by a few individuals. Okay, here is the money that is supposed to improve people's life. That money is stolen by unscrupulous people. How do you expect the country to develop? The country will not develop. Okay, so the other effect or impact of corruption is that it increases poverty levels. Corruption diverts resources away from health, education, and other services. So here is the money maybe released by the government, and that money is meant maybe to perform a specific task to a ministry like Ministry of Education. Now that money has been diverted into their pockets. So meaning poverty will rise. And underprivileged learner won't learn. Why? Because money has been taken away. Okay. So corruption increases what? Poverty. We have answered the other question, the impacts of corruption. Then we go to the role of public community. The role of the public or community, according to the question, they are saying discuss the role of the public in the fight against what? Corruption. So the role of public or community fighting against corruption as underlined there. Okay, now for this one, we are going to look at it in the next lesson to finish the question that we have. For now, let's base on these two questions, understand them, and how to answer them. So this is how we answer examination questions in civic education. Thank you so very much for now.